Minecraft world generation is cool and all, but nothing can beat the real thing. Today I'm building the world, a giant 2-layer pixel art of the world map. I'm also going to be making one banner for every single country in the world and placing that on the pixel art. Before we get to that, there are a few things that I need to do first. In my last video, I said I was going to connect a bone meal farm to this tree farm that I made. And as you can see, I started it, but I ran out of wheat to make all of the target blocks. So I got the materials real quick. And I got started on building this wheat farm. It's designed by Potato Noir and makes use of allays, which fly around and collect the wheat when these farmer villagers try to harvest it. I finished the bone meal generator and now I'm gonna run it until it fuels itself. The next thing that I want to do is upgrade my food source. So far I've been manually killing cows for food, so I think it's finally time to make a hogman farm. That will supply me automatically with food and leather. I already have all the materials right here, now all that's left is to build it. Now that I have this, I guess I don't need these many cows anymore. So... look at all this food. I'm not gonna need that hogland farm for a while. The next thing I'm gonna build is something I should have done a long time ago. And that something is a mob switch. If you're wondering what a mob switch does, it prevents hostile mobs from spawning. There are a couple reasons why I want to make a mob switch. First of all, having no hostile mobs to deal with sounds like a good deal to me, especially since I'm going to be working on a large, dark, flat platform in this video. Sleeping is also a bit annoying, and it would be nice to not have to think about it. It would also help my time played be more consistent. Even though I'm technically well past day 1000, I actually haven't played for 1000 days because I've slept about 860 times. I don't really care about my total days played, but with all the hardcore series on YouTube, a lot of people seem to care about that. I found this area to build it that's not too close to cause lag, but close enough so that it's easy to get to. I built the contraption to make the mob switch real quick, and I've been sitting here just waiting for the villagers to spawn. As you can see, this area is kind of a mess. I got too impatient, so I tried to make more villager breeders, but I was only able to make 2 that can function at the same time. Now I've got to turn all of these villagers into zombie villagers. If you want to know more about how this mob switch works, Logical Geek Boy has a great video about it. After I got 70 zombie villagers in this container, I turned my nether portal into a chunk loader, and now even all the way over here at my base, monsters should not be spawning. And looks like it works. As of today, I will try to sleep as little as I can, but I'm still gonna need the bed for spawn point and also phantoms. Now it's time to figure out how I'm going to make this map. I went on Google and I found this pretty good map on Shutterstock, so I made an account, got a free trial, downloaded it, and I canceled my plan before I forgot. I did some edits in Photoshop, and now I need to convert this to Minecraft blocks. A couple years ago, I made this using a program called Pixel Stacker. I converted the map image into Minecraft blocks and it looks so good. I don't want to spoil it now, but trust me, stay tuned, you are not going to want to miss this. I'm at a testing world, and as you can see, this requires a ton of glass. To get all this glass in survival, I have 2 options. I could do void trading, or I can make a giant super smelter. Each method has its pros and cons, so I spent a couple days thinking about it, and I decided to go the void trading route. I would love to have a giant super smelter, but I just don't have time to build it for this project. The void trading was really easy to set up, but now I have to sit here and do this for about 7 hours. I have never seen this before. 1 stack of emeralds for just 4 glass. This is probably because I punched him earlier, but that was hours ago and he hasn't changed until now. Well anyways, I got a ton of glass and unfortunately it's not nearly enough. While I'm waiting for the price to go back, I'll make some other farms that I need for this project. This is my cactus farm right now, and I need to expand this. Next, I want to make a squid farm, and you know the drill. Next, I want to make another tree farm. I already have all the materials I'll need because you guys don't actually like the material gathering montages, right? So you may be asking, why am I making another tree farm? Well, the one I made in the last video only works with spruce, and for this project I'm going to need a ton of other wood like oak and birch. This farm turned out to be one of the most difficult to put together. Even with Cinematica, it was super hard to get everything working. If anyone knows of any mods to disable observers, let me know. This universal tree farm is designed by Scorpio. Now it's time to test, make sure it's working alright. I can select whatever wood type mode that I want right here. I'm gonna pick oak. Now turn it on. And now if I go in here and hold down right click. Okay, good, it's working. These are the output chests, as you can see. I also get cobblestone as just kind of a bonus. It's just how the TNT dupers work. I've also been clearing a ton of this river, all to increase the rates of my squid farm. And I also expanded the cactus farm again. And for the final farm that I have to build in this video, you're not gonna believe me, it's another tree farm. Now, hear me out. The first tree farm I made is for getting a ton of wood really fast, but that's only spruce. The second one that I made is for birch, oak, jungle, acacia, and spruce again. And the tree farm I'm making now is for dark oak. It's a design by Shady J, and just like every other farm in this video, you can find the link in the description. The final thing that I built was an automatic wood stripping machine. With that done, I spent the next week collecting all of the materials that I would need to build the map. Before we move on, only 3% of people are actually subscribed, so let's make a deal. At the end of this video, if you were impressed by the final result, consider subscribing. It's free. You know what else is free? Joining my Discord server, where I post regular updates on how the video's coming along. It's been almost a month since I started this project, and I finally have everything I need to start building. Every one of these chests is full of shulker boxes full of items. If you're wondering, it's about 800,000 blocks. Thanks to this website, I found a pretty good spot to build. After setting up all the boxes, I'm kind of wishing I had color-coded these, because this is a lot of stuff. But no, I'm sure I'll be fine. My first step is to place a bunch of dirt to prevent any blocks that would be affected by gravity from plummeting to the bottom of the ocean. Since that's pretty boring, I'm just gonna snap and get it over with. It was pretty boring, I was just going like this the entire time, but it didn't take too long. And now it is time for what you and I have both been waiting for. It's time to start actually building some land. Also, yeah, I reorganized the boxes, I couldn't take it anymore. I started off by building a bunch of islands because they use the same types of blocks. Next, I started working on Alaska. I was planning on doing one section at a time, but I quickly realized that wasn't going to work. I was spending way too much time looking through shulker boxes and getting certain blocks, so I decided to change it up by going one color at a time. By only focusing on the greens, I was able to work way faster. I still had a lot of different types of blocks like green concrete, green terracotta, lime terracotta, green concrete powder, stuff like that, but I also wasn't overwhelmed with different block types, so I was able to build at a pretty fast rate. In only a few days, I was done with the most common color. After that, I moved on to doing white, which was 90% Greenland and 10% everywhere else. This may be a good time to also bring up that I'm not going to be building Antarctica. Due to how the map is laid out on a rectangle, Antarctica would be stretched out super long. It would show a clear flat line at the bottom, kind of exposing the rectangle shape, and it would also require a ton more materials. So it was more trouble than it was worth, so I decided to leave it out. Sorry to all my Antarctica viewers. Next, I finished up the blue blocks, which usually represent either islands or a transition from the land to the ocean. I tried continuing the color strategy first brown with Europe and then light brown with Africa, and I was starting to run into the same problems that I was having earlier. A lot of time was spent looking through shulker boxes. I knew I was missing a whole bunch of blocks, and it was sometimes hard to tell if I was getting the right color or not, because there are just so many different types of brown blocks that I'm using. So I have a new strategy. I'm using the Verify Schematic feature in Litematica, and I can pick certain blocks that I want to be highlighted. I'll pick a bunch of these brown wood color blocks, like stripped oak, oak planks, stripped birch, stuff like that. And now I can see them highlighted in red. Of course, this isn't all of them. I think it can only show so many highlighted blocks at a time, but I think this is the new way to go. And it certainly was the way to go because I had a lot easier of a time. If you're unaware, Litematica is the mod that I'm using to help me build all of this. It's basically a blueprint of where I should place each block, and without it, big projects like this just wouldn't be possible. Throughout this project, I've learned a lot more about using Litematica, and I've been thinking about possibly doing a sort of tutorial video along with some of the other mods that I use over on my other channel. I also have some other video ideas like answering questions in long detail and some pretty easygoing commentary type content that just wouldn't fit here. So go and subscribe if you want in case I do decide to do that. As for this channel, I do apologize for this video taking so long to make, but it's just a big project and it takes a long time. So to make up for it, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do in the next video right now. In my next video, I'm going to be making a storage system. The problem is I don't have enough time or skill to design one on my own. So I'm going to ask you right now, what storage system should I use? I want the best storage system possible as long as it's within reason. And reason for me is pretty far out considering the time lapse happening in the background. Don't worry about the video maybe not being original enough. I have a pretty unique idea about the decoration of the farm, but I'm going to have to leave that as a secret for now. For updates on that, I would once again refer you to the Discord. Alright, the first layer is finally done, and as you can see, it doesn't really look done because there are a lot of these spots that are still filled with water, and these spots are where I have to put solid blocks on the second level. So let's go ahead and do that. Of course, there weren't as many solid blocks on the second level, but I still followed a similar pattern to what I did on the first level. There was a lot of greens, a lot of sand yellow colors, some white, some brown, and a little bit of everything else. Now we're finally at a spot where this looks pretty good, and if you don't agree, don't worry because we are not done yet. It's time for the finishing touch of glass. Glass is what's going to take my pixel art and turn it into something that looks truly real. Obviously, glass is a big part of this project and I need almost just as much of it as the solid blocks, but it didn't take nearly as long as the first part did because there was a lower variety in glass. The solid blocks took a long time, not just because the world is really big, but because there was a wide variety of blocks that I used. I wasn't able to go through the entire thing one part at a time, but as you can see with the time lapses, that's exactly what I did with glass. Doing the glass was much more fun, much faster, and much easier than what I had done previously. So you might wonder why glass works so well and why I like it so much. Well, there are 16 different types of stained glass, so when you combine that with all of the solid blocks in the game, you get 16 times as many color options. You'll notice not the entire second layer is made of glass. There are some blocks that are just already good enough, and although they kind of mess up the texture because you can see the sides which make a darker texture and it's a whole bunch of confusing stuff, I kind of like it because it gives it a bit of shape, but I can see why people wouldn't like this. And finally, I am done building. And I also mapped out the entire thing, and even though it counts glass as one solid color, it still looks incredible. I didn't even think about how it was gonna look on a map. Everything just lines up perfectly. Now, as much as I would love to end the video here, I did promise that I was going to make a flag for every country in the world. So now it's time to do that. Making all the flags was pretty fun at first because I had done nothing but build for 2 weeks, but after a while it started to get tiring. There's a lot to be said about making banners, and luckily I was able to use videos like this to help me design each flag. Alright, I have every flag in these shulkers. I made 2 copies of each because it wasn't much problem, and I would like to have an extra one in case I need them for a future project. And they should all be in alphabetical order, but I guess I'll find out later if that isn't true. All that's left is to place these at the correct spot on the map. As you can see, there aren't any borders on here, so it may be a little tricky to find out exactly where each country is, but if I just compare with Google Maps, I feel like I should be pretty accurate. So, here is me placing the flag of every country in the world in alphabetical order, starting with Afghanistan, Albania, Algeria, Andorra, Angola, Antigua and Barbuda, Argentina, Armenia, Australia, Austria, Azerbaijan, Bahamas, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Barbados, Belarus, Belgium, Belize, Benin, Bhutan, Bolivia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Botswana, Brazil, Brunei, Bulgaria, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cambodia, Cameroon, Canada, Cape Verde, Central African Republic, Chad, Chile, China, Colombia, Comoros, Costa Rica, Croatia, Cuba, Cyprus, Czechia, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Denmark, Djibouti, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Egypt, El Salvador, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Estonia, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Fiji, Finland, France, Gabon, Gambia, Georgia, Germany, Ghana, Greece, Grenada, Guatemala, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Hungary, Iceland, India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Ivory Coast, Jamaica, Japan, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Kiribati, Kosovo, Kuwait, Kyrgyzstan, Laos, Latvia, Lebanon, Lesotho, Liberia, Libya, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Madagascar, Malawi, Malaysia, Maldives, Mali, Malta, Marshall Islands, Mauritania, Mauritius, Mexico, Micronesia, Moldova, Monaco, Mongolia, Montenegro, Morocco, Mozambique, Myanmar, Namibia, Nauru, Nepal, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nicaragua, Niger, Nigeria, North Korea, North Macedonia, Norway, Oman, Pakistan, Palau, Palestine, Panama, Papua New Guinea, Paraguay, Peru, Philippines, Poland, Portugal, Qatar, Republic of the Congo, Romania, Russia, Rwanda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Samoa, San Marino, Sao Tome and Principe, Saudi Arabia, Senegal, Serbia, Seychelles, Sierra Leone, Singapore, Slovakia, Slovenia, Solomon Islands, Somalia, South Africa, South Korea, South Sudan, Spain, Sri Lanka, Sudan, Suriname, Sweden, Switzerland, Syria, Tajikistan, Tanzania, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Togo, Tonga, Trinidad and Tobago, Tunisia, Turkey, Turkmenistan, Tuvalu, Uganda, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, United States, Uruguay, Uzbekistan, Vanuatu, Vatican City, Venezuela, Vietnam, Yemen, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. That's all for now, but if you want me to map out a few more in the future, like the countries in the UK or Greenland or Taiwan, let me know in the comments. It's nice to be able to see the banners when you're up close somewhere, and for once I'm glad that banners will disappear if you get out of range. Now, before I go, I need to see this in its entirety because right now my render distance is limiting the view quite a bit. There are 2 mods that I can use to help see further. I'm using one called Bobby right now, and I can see almost the entirety of the world, but it did take a while to fly around and load, and my performance is not great. Even though I'm recording this voiceover after, you might be able to hear my laptop is still trying to recover from that. Now I'm using Distant Horizons, and it doesn't look as good, but at least the game is playable. It has been more than 40 days since I started this project, and it is finally done. A world download will be available to YouTube members. Depending on when you're watching this, I might have a world tour on my other channel. That's all I got. If you enjoyed, subscribe and like, please.